Good morning, everyone. First thing that I will tell you is that when the title of my presentation, which is coming up on screen shortly, if not instantaneously as I'm speaking, it is there, I'm telling you, it is there. There we go. So the title of my presentation is not mine. It is Justin LeBon's title, and I have to tell you that I'm not getting to grips with Programmatic TV because I don't like the name. I don't think it is appropriate, and so what I'm here to talk about is really the various aspects that are tied to our business in the media world. And the first one is that, to me, Programmatic TV looks more like this. It is a monster with many heads and scaring a lot of people in the TV industry. Whatever it's called, and I said, from the get-go, I'm not particularly fond of Programmatic TV. There's certainly fundamentals behind this, which are in the right direction and the right way for the industry to move. For us at CBC and Radio-Canada, we use an expression that we feel is more appropriate and is part of our vision and direction, and that is that, the word's been coined by one of my leadership team member, Andrea Laton, and she calls it Relentless Automation. And so our goal is really to bring more automation and more abilities to improve on our processes and our operations by using every technological means at our disposal to automate the way we conduct and manage the media business of our clients. So Programmatic TV, or as we say, relentless automation, really means gaining efficiencies through improved targeting methods and better means of transacting. Now, obviously, we offer, as an industry, a whole slew and wealth of platforms from which advertisers can reach the Canadian consumers. From linear to digital, broadcasters have an incredible array of assets and means to achieve media advertising objectives. Improving targeting requires capabilities beyond their traditional means. The new Touchpoint study, for example, that was published a few weeks back, in which we participated, is helpful and certainly bringing value, our higher value proposition around media. But whatever sources of data we use, they need to be integrated. They need to be readily accessible, easy to integrate within the planning and execution processes. It also means optimizing, obviously, campaigns. We do not, we're not very good on the broadcasting end at optimizing in real time and quickly campaign executions. So between the buying process, the delivery, and the posting, there's simply too much delay. All aspects of transactions need to be streamlined and handled with one objective, in our view: reducing labor, reducing human interventions, and maximizing what's available out there for us. Some solutions, such as the ones that were developed by MediaOceans, for example, are great bridges to that, with the e-contracts, e-postings, and e-avails, allowing a more fluid interaction between buyer and seller. We've played a key role, an active role in that, and we will continue to play an active role in these types of initiatives because we feel that that commitment will help and support new developments. There are many initiatives at various stages of development in various companies worldwide on both the SSP and the DSP side. But most of them, I would say, are over-promising and under-delivering. And we feel that in that context, we have to make sure that the organizations behind these initiatives don't have a vested interest in doing things such as arbitraging inventory, but really are looking at the best interest of broadcasters, of advertisers, and media agencies. obviously, our ecosystem is more complex and warrants new approaches. The reality is that television, and all media for that matter, are now traded as a commodity. Nothing wrong with that. It is a reality, and we have to certainly. And I'm going to find a word in English to say it, but embrace it. There it is. Embrace it. But it's also how we enhance our audiences and inventory with qualitative knowledge that makes the difference. GRPs, impressions, reach and frequency objectives are a fundamental part of TV advertising strategies. Environment and context are as important, but let's face it, they don't garner the attention or the interest that they used to. We feel that it is ultimately the big idea that's really important. The initiative that's going to allow advertiser to stand out from the crowd. Experimentation, innovation are key fundamental components of our clients' strategies, and we broadcasters have to deliver the goods. The true value proposition for our clients is when we combine our impressions and our reach with the innovation and the proximity to our content. That's what makes a difference. That's what advertisers and agencies are all looking for. It's what I call the brain juice in support of business objectives. It's a lot more fun, too. And I'm sure you'll agree, a lot more beautiful. So clearly, we need to shift our resources from the transactional side of our business to more intelligent and creative solutions. When you look at various broadcast organizations, we still have an incredible amount of resources that are handling transactionals, operations, bookings, contracts, make goods, trafficking, servicing, and the balance between those are very disaligned with the interest and the true effort that is required from us. And at a minimum, we have to reverse that allocation of resource. So key success factors, in our opinion, first and foremost, is obvious. Single source video viewing and media consumption, combining all sources of data into an integrated and holistic view of the consumer. And in that sense, we're very motivated and enthusiastic with the recent changes at Numeris and the leadership of the team there, which is really defining the right direction and the right approach. And that is certainly a fantastic move for the industry. On the set-top box data file, the CRTC initiative has to be welcomed, and I appreciate Greg McClellan's initiative, for example, around his partnership with Visible World. But in all reality, we have to work as an industry, and set-top box data through the work of the CRTC is great, but it's moving at a snail's pace, and we're going to land somewhere if we continue at that pace, but I will be retired. I will be somewhere else, certainly not here in the cold weather, but we have to accelerate the pace of this initiative. It is worthy, and it's a right thing to do, but we got to move quickly. And in all fairness, it's about more data, obviously, more data than less. In addition to that, we feel that redefining our trading on all fronts is also important. And in that sense, we feel that beginning with commercial ratings is certainly the first step that needs to be achieved. We are talking about all sources of data, but clearly in a world of live PVR, time-shifting viewing, there's no room for us to be trading on an average program viewing, and certainly not in the Western world as you compare us to other markets. It does involve redefining the currency, obviously, and it's not simple, but in today's TV landscape, it's imperative that as an industry, we move into that direction. It will mean a commitment from all broadcasters to fast-track all the necessary changes in the interest of the industry. The British market certainly has demonstrated that this can be achieved with resounding success. For those of you who saw Lindsay Clay's presentation at CMDC, clearly illustrating how powerful the TV industry becomes when it works together. That marketplace has sustained solid growth. The TV marketplace has sustained solid growth over the past 5 years. It has started with the changes that we have made at the former TVB, now Think TV, under the leadership of Catherine and her team. This is a fantastic team, a team that really has begun to lay the foundation that demonstrate the true power of TV, the true value and power of TV that are unparalleled. And we really feel, as members, very motivated by the work that they're doing. It also means that we have to organize in a global way, beyond the borders of Canada, through all the worldwide bodies representing TV. The work that needs to be done to put TV in its appropriate place needs to be developed through a concerted effort. That means the Video Advertising Bureau in the US, working with ThinkBox in the UK, EGTA, Cathy Robert-Froid from the EGTA group is here today. Her work, the work of her team, Think TV in Australia, all of us have to band together and work at really serving the best interest of the industry. It has started, but it needs to move in a bigger and faster way. So we at Radio-Canada, our monster has sort of changed a bit. We feel that we're totally convinced that whatever it's called, it's a monster that we can tame. It's the right way to go for the industry, the only way for the industry to retain the place it deserves in the media advertising landscape. And on that note, I thank you for your attention.
Can you just stay there with your questions.
Stay there?
Yeah.
I'm staying there.
Okay, we've got about 5 minutes for audience questions, so if you have one, just put your hand up. I mean, my obvious one is what your problem is with the term programmatic. Is that a perception issue, or do you just think it just doesn't describe the process properly? Well,
when you look at the fundamental realities, programmatic in the digital environment was based on one fundamental aspect, and that's that supply was largely over demand, right? There was oversupply in relationship to demand. That's not the reality in the TV world. TV world is based on a reality of scarcity, whether it's through our traditional linear or even our digital assets. And fundamentally, I don't feel that the programmatic label fits in that context.
Okay, and if you get the set-top box data that we know will take a while to come, but when it comes, what could you do with that at CBC?
We could do a lot of things. So there are basically two needs, right? The first one is from a programming perspective. We need to have the knowledge and the abilities to make choices, and I was very enthused by Cablevision, by Paul's presentation earlier. Is Paul still here? Because if he's still here, I want to talk to him. From a programming perspective, having that data, having access to that data will help enlighten programming decisions. And that's, very important in a world where we are competing for attention from viewers. And obviously, from a selling perspective, and from a distribution perspective, it helps us enhance our value proposition to clients and just levels the playing field. Right now, the challenge is that and certainly in Canada, because of the sheer size of the vertically integrated companies, independent players are at a weaker position. So that's one of the reasons why we're encouraging the whole CRTC working group to put on running shoes and start running instead of walking.
Okay. And if the ecosystem does come together, would you then expose your inventory programmatically through set-top boxes? It may be some time in the future, but in principle, would you do that?
Of course, of course. But again, and through conversations we had yesterday as well as today's, the reality is this is a complementary approach to our mass reach vehicles. They are just there to be able to allow certain growth and certain abilities, better abilities to reach consumers. And to that extent, all forms of way to transact and better target and better reach consumers in all forms is certainly in the best interest of all parties. And we're certainly encouraging that in every way.
Okay. We've got an audience question. We've got time for an audience question still. Okay.
Sherry.
Yeah.
Sherry, who actually yesterday with our team won a gold award for the Sick Kids partnership with Murdoch Mysteries. Congratulations, Sherry, on that work.
You mentioned selling on a commercial minute. I agree with you fully. We didn't plan this in advance. But I am curious to know how we could possibly trade programmatically when we don't currently trade on commercial minutes.
I think you hit the nail on the head. It's to me, there are steps for us to be moving, and probably the first one would be to move in that direction.
Your colleagues agree?
I don't know. I should ask my colleagues.
Stuart?
Mr. he's having a break. He's having a coffee.
We don't currently trade on commercial minutes. How are we going to move to programmatic? Do you believe in trading on commercial minutes?
You got Greg and Stuart there side by side.
Yes, I do. It's sort of available now. I mean, it'll change. It'll be seismic if we do change. But I think that our systems aren't ready for it yet. As John said, we've got a way to go to get there. But yeah, we should be talking about the audience that commercials deliver.
If I could just add, I know there's some questions around our programmatic announcement, and I just want to say that it's a journey. When we started our set-top box data initiative 3 years ago, we never envisioned being where we are today and how we're selling it today. And we believe in the programmatic space, it's the exact same thing. As we talk to Cablevision, as I mentioned a lot, they've evolved over 6 years, and our thinking is to help the industry, we're going to start investing and investigating with Visible World, but we're going to bring all those findings to the industry. And I suspect in 2 or 3 years there will be commercial minutes, and we will be trading some form of programmatic, not as it's defined from a digital standpoint, but just being able to aggregate audiences in an automated manner.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, John.